Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk about my good friend Modi and the Bharat Empire under his leadership. India has just reached a trade deal with the US. Trump agreed to lower tariffs on India from 50% to 18%. This gives Indian companies some breathing room. I congratulate Modi and India. I do not know whether he called Trump to beg as Lutnick demanded. But stopping purchases of Russian oil became a precondition for the US-India trade deal. I am not angry about this. This is not the first time Modi has betrayed me. He once made a high-profile visit to Ukraine to show friendship with Zelensky. At that time he believed Russia might lose the war. He thought India should always stand with the winner. After our army stabilized the situation, he became my good friend again. When you must choose between believing Modi or believing a snake, you should choose the snake without hesitation. For many years India has swung back and forth between the eastern and western camps under Modi's leadership. By playing the role of a two-headed snake, India gained many benefits. Modi is truly a master of diplomacy. Yet during Modi's time in power, China grew from an ordinary major power into a superpower that can confront the US head-on. While Xi Jinping and Trump clashed with hard power, Modi chose to accept humiliation from the US and become its slave. A country like that can never become a true great power. India needs cheap energy. Without it, economic takeoff is impossible. So, after the US government captured Maduro and took over Venezuelan oil, Modi saw an opportunity. Venezuelan oil allows India to stop buying Russian oil at very low cost and reduce the economic impact. When Americans stand on the moral high ground to accuse Russia, they openly invade other countries and seize resources. Modi once again showed his shamelessness. He wants to buy stolen goods. As the president of Russia, I feel no sadness at all about losing such a so-called friend. For Indians, the word friend only exists when there is profit. Iran is India's strategic partner. Yet, when the US and Israel bombed Iran, India not only refused to condemn them, but many Indians were caught working as spies for Mossad. Modi's and India's credibility have been reduced to zero. Making friends with such a country is a disgrace. The US cannot dominate the world. Russia and China will never allow it to happen. As for the Bharat Empire, Pakistan, China, and Bangladesh have formed an iron triangle. Chinese weapons have surrounded India. Since you claim to be the world's third strongest power, do not come to Moscow begging for protection the next time China beats you. Besides Modi, another good friend who often thinks of me is Trump. In his words, both Xi Jinping and I are his good friends. Yet he always uses dirty methods to attack his so-called good friends. The common point between him and Modi is shamelessness. No sense of shame, and both of them appear in the Epstein files. The US government under Trump has become the biggest destroyer of international order. It oppresses and plunders other countries without distinction around the world. Even its own allies are not spared. The EU, the UK, and Canada are all distancing themselves from the US. The once powerful Western alliance is falling apart. This fool destroyed in just 1 year the ally system that the US carefully built over many years. Like the arrogant Modi, he is addicted to the illusion of imperial glory. He robs the world but needs a partner to sell the stolen goods. That partner must have enough size to absorb the loot and low enough moral standards. That person can only be Modi. So I'm not surprised at all by their deal. But I must remind Modi of the survival rule in a gang. You must obey the boss unconditionally. When you have value, you are the boss's good brother. When your value drops, or when you become too rich, he will turn on you just the same. You have been India's Prime Minister for 13 years. India still cannot produce a qualified rifle. In air combat, it was humiliated by Pakistan. The root cause is that you are stupid. You have dragged India into the abyss. A country without a long-term strategy and a firm path of independent development, always speculating in the gaps between great powers, has no future. Look at India now. Does it still have any real friend in the world? Of course. I know Modi will not listen to my sincere words. Someone predicted long ago that he would surrender. Mr. Hanzi predicted very early that Modi would kneel to Trump in the first quarter. The only small flaw was that he predicted January, but Modi held out until early February. A few days ago in a video he admitted this might be his only failed prediction. I feel sorry for Mr. Hanzi. Now please welcome my good friend Modi to join via video link and share his views.
Thank you for the invitation from my good friend, President Putin. I basically accept Putin's criticism, but I must explain my difficulties. As everyone knows, I came to power by promoting radical Hindutva. My political career can only succeed. It cannot fail. Reviving the powerful ancient Bharat Empire and letting people enjoy the dignity of superpower citizens was the key reason they voted for me. So after taking office, I kept changing GDP calculation methods and creating fake data. I even included Taodong in GDP. Because of this, the IMF set India's data credibility rating to C. For the vanity of being the world's third largest country, India must become the third pole alongside the US and China. Plus, there is the border issue between China and India, so I must be tough on China. But in the Galwan Valley clash, Indian troops were crushed and suffered a great humiliation. I could only block the news and let Bollywood make movies to counter the Chinese. So I turned my target to Pakistan because confronting Muslims is my core voter base. But I did not expect Indian forces to be so weak. Planes were shot down. The pilot was captured. India became a global laughingstock. In 2025, I carefully planned Operation Sindoor. I sent 80 fighter jets to attack Pakistan. The result was that Pakistan shot down many jets, including Rafale, Su-30 and MiG-29. India became a global laughingstock in seconds. US President Trump spread news everywhere that we suffered a crushing defeat. American intelligence is advanced. Trump had lots of evidence. If I kept buying Russian oil, he might release detailed proof and destroy my strongman image at home. The US government also holds a lot of evidence of Adani corruption involving many Indian government agencies and officials. Adani is my biggest donor. I cannot bear such risk. I had to accept Lutnick's advice and beg Trump. I love bragging. Bragging makes me happy. Imitating Mussolini by raising my index finger during speeches is my style. For more than 10 years, I have kept saying the US is India's democratic ally and India is a model of democracy. Western media never report our terrible caste system. They also ignore India's filthy sanitary conditions. They follow my rhythm and keep claiming India will replace China as the world's factory. But more than 10 years have passed. India's manufacturing share of GDP stays around 15%. Every year, India imports huge amounts of industrial goods and parts from China. Americans know very well how embarrassing this is. They control media power. I must stay on good terms with the US. Otherwise, they'll use their strong media to expose all my lies. Although Indian media is famous worldwide for making fake news and brainwashing viewers, Indian media heavily relies on American social platform. I really dare not offend Trump. Yes, I shamelessly betrayed Iran and Russia. I also refuse to join BRICS countries in pushing de-dollarization and removing the dog chain around India's neck. I did many wrong things. But India's national interest means nothing compared to my personal interest. I became Prime Minister to hold power myself. If I am not Prime Minister, what does India's development have to do with me, even if it becomes great? As for not allowing India to buy Russian oil, that is Trump's demand. You are a good friend. Why don't you ask him directly?
Hello, my friends. How are you? I do not know why Modi invited me to this video call. I thought he wanted to flatter me again, say some bootlicking words, or sing and dance for me. Since President Putin is here too, I will speak clearly. I must be responsible to my big donors, the U.S. energy giants. I want to annex Greenland and Canada. I want to invade Venezuela. All of this is to control more energy. Now I have taken over Venezuela's oil, but it is stolen goods. I need someone to buy it. The most suitable person is Modi. India buying oil from Russia does not serve my interests or America's interests. The U.S. is the most powerful country in the world. Wherever our warships go, that place belongs to us. You occupied so much land in Ukraine and took Crimea. Why can't I rob Venezuela? The America I lead follows the law of the jungle. Truth is the range of the cannon. As for Modi, you do not need to understand many things. You only need to understand this. If you do not obey me, I will strike you. Have you forgotten what you did? When I was first elected president, India's strength was weak. But I did not despise you. I gave you countless praise and vanity. When you visited the U.S., I cooperated with you to perform Howdy Modi in front of tens of thousands of Indians. That was the highlight of your political career. At that moment, I held your hand sincerely and believed you were my friend. But after I lost the election, you immediately became Biden's watchdog and completely forgot our friendship. In 2024, you made a private visit to Biden's hometown to campaign for him. You thought I would not win the election, right? Later, Biden was replaced by Harris. I won the election. You immediately had Indian media hype our private friendship again. Don't you feel ashamed? Putin was right. If I have to choose between a snake and you, I choose to trust the snake. Okay, I did not come here to argue with you. Modi, you can leave now. I want to discuss important international affairs with President Putin.